Ladies and gentlemen, of course. I'm sure our speaker needs no introduction from me.
Which won't stop you from introducing her at length.
As you are all well aware, Julia Gibbon MP is one of our rising politicians, whose elevation in the last cabinet reshuffle to junior minister at the Home Office was warmly welcomed by one and all. I do not propose to go on and on, but I do believe we are entitled to a little self-congratulation for our double coup. Not only do we have her here with us tonight, but I do not need to remind anyone about our annual fete, at which we raised the record sum of... I'm sure our treasurer has the exact figure, which is impressive. Fate opened by none other than tonight's speaker. The most memorable day, if I may say so. I hope it was as memorable for her as it was for all of us.
If only I could forget it. If only. If only. If only.
Well, we can now say our fate is well and truly opened. An inspirational address. Exactly what our supporters were waiting to hear. I do believe you said something like it on. Any questions? But of course, this was longer and in the flesh. So much more inspiring to hear the words in the flesh, I say. I do believe you met our treasurer earlier with his lady wife. A most reliable person, rock solid. And we all need reassurance these days, especially when black can turn to white overnight in a manner of speaking. This is our oldest supporter. Do you think a photo with our oldest? Shaking hands, perhaps? Echo photographer should be around here somewhere, probably in the refreshment tent. Could we wheel the chair over to the refreshment tent? Lovely, thank you. There, what was I saying? Yes, we need those at the top to be relied on. This is from the Echo, a small newspaper by Fleet Street Standard, sturdily independent voice on local matters. Do you expect we shall be reported on the front page? Would you?
Go ahead.
Do I call you Minister?
Call me whatever you like, as long as you report what I say and not what you think I ought to have said.
The editors asked me to get a few personal details.
Our supporters love personal details.
How personal?
Oh, not that sort of personal, I just mean...
I'm sure supporters aren't interested in personal details of that sort, whatever they may be. Not that the minister would have such personal details. I'll get you in the refreshment tent in a moment, shall I?
You haven't been doing this job very long, have you?
Does it show so awfully?
Aren't you really angling for a women's page exclusive? Julia Gibbon occupies her spare time knitting bed socks.
Gosh, do you?
Never enough spare time. This is a 25-hour day job, 8 days a week.
Miss Minister, after what you were saying just now about law and order...
I hope you got that down accurately.
We have a copy of the speech. I was just wondering if you had any comment on this afternoon's disturbances.
I didn't observe any trouble around the refreshment tent.
There was a news flash on the radio while you were talking.
And I'd hoped I was holding the audience spellbound.
Our photographer was listening to the cricket. It seems there was a rally in London.
Fast overtaking cricket as a national pastime. Expect the police had it under control.
According to the radio, there was some trouble with the horses.
I understood it was to be an unauthorised march, not a point-to-point.
Well, there were several casualties.
Oh. I'm sorry.
One person died.
Really? You have my assurance that the incident will be fully investigated. You can quote me. The chairperson seems to be having some trouble with the oldest supporter.
There weren't very many details. After the flash, the radio went right back to the cricket.
Very British. I'd rather you didn't quote that.
Well, having the same job, it sort of made it more personal, like, for me.
Job?
She was a journalist.
She?
I suppose you could say she died in the line of duty.
Did the radio? Was there a name?
Something like Wright? Was it? That's it. Penny Wright. I remember thinking, it's a funny name for a journalist. Well, like a baker named Bun. I think I'd heard of her. At least she'll be headline news for a while, if that's any consolation.
No.
No, I don't suppose it is. You did say there'd been an inquiry, didn't you?
No.
Well, I thought in your speech you said we should back the forces of law and order.
Why?
My editor's very strong on law and order, especially the new estates.
Pen.
Yes, that's it. Her name. Did you know her, Miss Minister?
What?
Were you acquainted with the deceased?
Spoken like a true reporter. I don't believe the lady was a lobby correspondent. We may have met as we are meeting now for a brief interview, but no more. No more.
But you seem to remember her name.
Because I'm sure I will remember yours.
But Miss Gibbon.
Oh, we are all ready by the tea tent now. The photographer, our oldest supporter, and various other committee members.
I look forward to seeing what you write. I always read the most important press cuttings.
Our oldest supporter has been a little difficult. She had the idea she was about to meet the Queen.
But I never told you my name.
If only. If only. If only.
But you are not here to listen to me, are you?
Oh, Pen.
I promised a short introduction, so without much ado, I give you Julia Gibbon, MP.
Thank you. I should like to say how gratifying it is to have been invited back so soon. I have often been advised that one should first catch the attention of an audience with a laugh. Yes, Pen. I know you're there. Still invading my thoughts. Observe. I'm telling you in advance what I propose to do. Nothing up my sleeve. That is called open government. But if I can be serious for a moment, though, I do have strong opinions on open government. Go away, Pen. As far as I am able, I shall always try to face the public squarely. Must we relive that scene again and again? Though there will be few startling revelations on this occasion, this hardly being the occasion for startling revelations. However,
Jewel,
I haven't got long. I have to be back in the house by 10.
so what's new about that?
Damn it, Pen. An MD has commitments. I had to break one engagement and cut another short just to get here at all.
Thanks.
I wasn't asking for thanks.
Thanks all the same.
If only I had the time.
Ah, yes.
That old story. Is that what you're going to say? As long as your deadlines are met, you can please yourself how you get there. My days are plotted out minute by minute, round the clock. Time and motion. Don't make me laugh.
If only I could.
Must you be so bloody reasonable?
One of us has to be.
I just don't know how much longer we can go on like this. Furtive exits, hoping nobody notices one slipping away. Elaborate changes of route, hoping one doesn't get the same taxi driver twice. Constant glancing over your shoulder, hoping some snotty little journalist isn't on one's trail.
Hold on, ducks. I'm one of your snotty little journalists.
Junior minister in sex scandal.
Junior minister in gay sex scandal would make a better headline.
How about junior minister in gay sex scandal with suspected subversive?
I object to suspected. I'm a pain in the private parts to both your houses, and proud of it. I've never made any secret of my associations.
That's all the more reason why I have to. You could dance naked down Whitehall singing The Wearing of the Green and not attract more than a couple of inches at the bottom of an inside page. I make one slip of the tongue and alarm bells are ringing in the world's press agencies.
No need to worry about Freudian slips, my dear. You'll always be in perfect control. Never given yourself wholly to anything, have you, my love? Not that I'm blaming you. Total commitment is such a disadvantage for a politician. It rules out backflipping when the going gets rough.
Pen.
I mean, it takes two to quarrel. Sorry, love, but I won't. If your feelings have changed, just say so. Feelings do, and the only thing to be done with a dead love is to give it a decent burial. If you want out, you only have to ask. But no parliamentary histrionics, please. Let's have no bitter aftertaste.
I have responsibilities. To the constituents. To the party.
And your feelings?
With an election coming up, the rats are snuffling for goodies. Sex and politics? What a bean feast.
You do still have feelings.
With a 3,000 majority, every vote counts.
Counts more than what?
A mere whisper could let the other side in.
Counts more than us? God knows we've had little enough, but do you really want to end it?
You know very well that I can't. I can't.
There, love.
Pen, how is this all going to turn out?
Miserably, I suppose. Like all the best love stories. Imagine Romeo and Juliet living happily ever after. We have what we have.
It won't last.
Then we'll have had what we had.
Always so bloody reasonable. Hitting out at you is like beating an overstuffed pillow. Why don't you ever hit back?
I reserve my temper for the right targets. Then in a showdown I don't have to pull my punches.
The rally this weekend.
Oh, you've heard about that.
We're not as ill-informed as you may suppose.
Not to mention fly posters on every flat surface for miles around.
What's the point of it all?
Didn't you stop to read any of it?
But what good will it do?
Stir up a little apathy, maybe? Anti-nuke, anti-job losses, troops out? Does it matter what, as long as we get up the noses of the establishment? Remind those in high places that underdogs can at least bark.
You're no underdog.
So I bark on behalf of those who've forgotten how.
They won't thank you.
I'm not asking them to. And all the while you'll be gracious at a garden party.
How did you know?
No, we're not as ill-informed, etc., etc. As a matter of fact, you told me yourself. Were you hoping I might cover it? Junior minister reveals future thinking at fundraising fate.
Pen love, give that rally a miss.
Oh, Ducky, you know me better than that.
I'm not saying join my audience. Just go for a long walk. Read a book. Go to a matinee. Knit a blanket for overseas aid. Just stay away from that rally.
Do you know something you're not telling me? Come clean, Julia.
Oh. There's always a risk, and the police are bound to be out in force.
We're relying on them to double their head count.
For my sake, Pen.
Isn't that an egocentric point of view?
I don't know what I'd do without you.
Nobody's indispensable.
With you, I can drop my defences. Say what I feel. There's no one else.
What an admission from old Ironclad herself. But definitely off the record, I take it.
I mean every word.
Of course you do.
You don't believe me.
I believe you.
And for God's sake, stay away from that rally.
Would you cancel your junketing if I asked nicely?
That's not the same.
Tit for tat, ducks.
There'll be no mounted police at a garden party.
Mounted, eh? I must take good care not to lose my marbles.
This is no joke.
Who's joking? I will if you will. That's a promise.
The rally won't be cancelled if you're not there. If I pull out now, there'll be questions leading heavens knows where. You wouldn't even be missed.
I'd miss me.
One little thing I'm asking. Just one. It's too much.
I've never tried to tell you what to say or do. I might laugh at you, but I've never tried to change any part of you. I'm too fond of you as you are. If you sometimes strike me as a prejudiced, overbearing git, well, that's you. I wouldn't want you any other way. But like I said, love, tit for tat. You must take me for what I am too.
A bloody fool.
Maybe.
Can't you see that every time one of your futile lunacies makes our position even more impossible? Can't you see that Every time one of your imbecile capers hits the tabloids, you put me in the firing line too. Can't you see? Or don't you want to see?
Cool down, Julia. That's beginning to sound like a real temper.
Do you want the dirt diggers to start shoveling?
Aren't you being a wee bit one-sided, even for a pillar of the establishment?
Stop laughing, will you?
One of us has to if this isn't to end in tears.
You don't care, do you?
I care. Maybe too much. If only I didn't.
This isn't caring. It's bloody self-indulgence.
Words. Only words. You're good with words. Perhaps we ought to swap jobs.
For God's sake, I have tried pleading, arguing, begs, bribes, and promises. I'd go down on my knees if I had the time. What can I do to make you change your mind?
Nothing, love.
I have to go.
So soon?
I'm late already.
Look both ways before you cross the road.
Damn you, Pen.
Love you too, Julia.
I am talking to you now about confidence. Not only the confidence that comes from doing the right thing, but from the knowledge that one is seen to be doing the right thing. Firm government needs, demands, firm support. Put bluntly, to know that you are behind us. Stable government demands the backing of the governed, which in a democracy means the electorate. In other words, of you. What is this morbid fascination with funerals that brings out such oddballs as forgotten relations, ex-lovers, and even such lowlives as reporters?
Miss Gibbon.
Do I know you?
Susan Little.
Susan.
We went to the garden party. Susan.
Yes, the Gazette, wasn't it?
The Echo.
Have you been promoted to funerals?
Should I have said minister?
Miss Gibbon will do. I should like to say I'm here on a semi-private capacity, not available for interviews. Damn. Now I suppose I'll have to elaborate to avoid the press drawing outlandish conclusions.
Oh, I wouldn't draw.
The verdict was accidental death. But as the incident brought police action into question, my office became involved peripherally. Can you spell peripherally?
I'm not taking notes, Minister.
Better not let your editor know that.
I haven't been sent by the paper. I took the day off.
A fan of the deceased?
To tell you the truth, I hadn't heard of her before the accident. I think it's rather sad she had to die to make the headlines.
A determined reporter will do anything to make the headlines. Rather you didn't quote that. I'm not as unsympathetic as I may sound. The incident ought to have never happened, but it was just an unfortunate accident. Nothing to shed tears over. Any unfortunate incident such as this is... I mean...
Ask them not whom the bell tolls.
In a cliche, yes.
Are there any other MPs here?
This is a small private ceremony, not a state occasion.
The UK?
And I told you why.
Yes, Minister. You told me.
Big scoop. Taxi.
Could be, Minister.
What did you say?
It's not important, Minister.
This is no time for waverers. We remember Messrs. Mistrust, Timorous, and facing both ways. Better not ask what's happening to Julia Gibbon. Unless you don't remember your Pilgrim's Progress, let me remind you that each of them failed to reach the promised land. They didn't even believe in it. But we believe. We all know what we are working for. But giant despair still lives in Doubting Castle. Correction. Despair can be found any day in the bar of the House of Commons.
Spare a minute?
What? Oh, Dr. Semple, I presume.
Budgie die then.
Budgie?
Just a random shot. Might have been a cat or dog, but you never struck me as a cat or dog person.
Never been a pet person of any sort.
Pity. Another? Gin and something, or just gin? Or Just something?
Alcohol's no use for solving headaches. You're left with 2 headaches for the price of 1.
Speaking from experience?
Brief, but painful. Not to be repeated. What did you mean about picky?
I'm not just another MP, you know. Used to be a GP.
I'm not in need of a doctor.
Why not let a doctor give an opinion on that?
Well, Dr. Semple?
Dark circles around the eyes usually mean something.
Like not sleeping.
I'd sometimes prescribe a pet. Not available over the chemist's counter, but cheaper in the long run than Valium and not as addictive.
I don't believe in unnecessary medication.
You can talk to a pet. Not that they often answer back, but that isn't important. Letting the words out can be.
What words?
Only the patient knows till they start. Can't stand my boss, spouse, in-laws. Why did it? Didn't it happen to me? What if, when?
Well, better get back to the grindstone.
Then they can come out in a rush. Like opening a bottle. Until the cork's pulled, they're in there fermenting away. All very well for champagne, but human beings don't have that reinforced dent at the bottom. Can't take the strain. They explode. Messy.
So?
I'm told hamsters make agreeable pets. Don't take much looking after. You can tell your deepest, darkest secrets to a hamster and be quite sure he won't leak them to the opposition.
I share my secrets with the Undersecretary.
Can you cry on an Undersecretary's shoulder?
This near to a parliamentary session, there's no time for anybody to cry.
Tears can be antiseptic, very soothing.
What are you trying to get at?
Me?
Is this probing supposed to lead anywhere?
Do me a favour.
At least the leader was unorthodox.
I know a little restaurant.
This place is full.
There will be a place in a minute. Their coq au vin is worth waiting for.
I'm not in the habit of wasting time merely eating.
I can think of worse habits, lunches of milk and sandwiches.
Quick, satisfying, and nutritionally balanced.
You know that saying about nature's way of telling you to slow down? That table should be free in a minute. Well, if you hadn't agreed that I'm at least partly right, you'd never have agreed to come. Ah, yes, the young lady's companion is ready to pay the bill.
No.
Does she recognise you?
I recognise her, and that's enough.
She looks harmless.
A harmless investigative journalist.
For the school magazine, I presume. Well, if doctors and policemen are getting younger, why not journalists?
She has some bee in her bonnet about... Never mind. She knew I'd be back. She must have been lying in wait.
I think she's trying to make up her mind. Should she smile or shouldn't she?
If she comes over here.
Unless she goes out through the kitchen, she can't do anything else.
We're not staying.
Running away? From what?
Damn your amateur psychology.
I object to amateur.
She knew I'd be back.
You've been here before?
It holds certain memories.
Put on your meet the press smile, Julia. It won't hurt much. Miss Gibbon?
Who else were you expecting? This is Dr. Semple.
Number for Borton. The young lady's done her homework. I'm afraid I can't claim much credit. My friend recognised you. A lobby correspondent. Reporters outnumber MPs here any day, but I expect you know that.
Why should I?
I thought everyone knew.
And what everyone doesn't know, you'll be delighted to tell them. The name of my hairdresser, for instance, my brand of bath salts.
I'm too far down the ladder yet for that.
But what a leg up the right story might be.
We can all dream, Miss Gibbon.
You could do more than that, spinning your webs. What were you and your collaborator hoping to catch today?
We're just good friends. Believe it or not, we came here to eat.
That's about as believable as Mr. and Mrs. Smith in a hotel register.
There can be a lot of truth in cliches. That is why they become cliches.
Then here are some more. The horse won't run, you're on the wrong track, the game's played out. Why don't you just go back to your local rag? You're out of your depth here.
You're right, Miss Gibbon.
Ah!
I don't know what you're on about.
Harassment? Coincidence? Call it what you will. Whichever way I turn, I find you under my feet.
I'm sorry
For the last time, the name Penelope Wright means nothing to me.
Penelope who?
To heaven I'd never heard it.
But Miss Gibbon.
Peter to you.
Peter.
Minister. You assume far too much on a short acquaintance. In future, kindly refer to me as Minister.
Yes, Minister. Anytime. That table's free now.
I'm not hungry.
Peter, eh? Well, you may not know who Penelope Wright is, but even a backsliding freethinker knows what Peter did.
A Freudian slip. It won't happen again. I'm in control.
So, how about a sandwich and a glass of milk?
I'm sorry. An unfortunate twinge of memory. I thought I saw... Ah, yes, so it is. The echo. I was reminded of an occasion when a brash young reporter, another different brash young reporter, yes, young lady, there have been others, a young reporter asked me if there had been anything in my life that I had regretted. I replied that my only regret lay in having nothing to regret. Tell your editor to stick that on his spike and shred it. Yes, Pen. You know you're still there. Recently, there have been rumours spread by certain tabloids about persons in the public eye. Dead Pens. It's taking unfair advantage. I can categorically state that I, personally, have nothing to hide. I only hope certain gutter journalists can say as much. What do you expect from me? Tears? I repeat, there is nothing in my past that I have regretted. Does that satisfy you aspiring young muckrakers? I'm sorry, but you won't be getting any more from me. For persons in my position, a public display of private grief is a luxury beyond our means. We remember Lord Lundy, who was far too easily moved to tears. Be off and govern New South Wales. You're dead, Pen. Crying won't bring it back. Yes, as I was saying, confidence. You're dead, Pen! You're dead and gone! You don't exist in my life anymore. For me now, you never existed. You're out of my life. Stay out of my mind! I never knew her, you understand. She was never a part of my life. No tears to shed for her. Pen? Gone. Really gone. 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 Yes, confidence. As I was saying. What do you all expect from me? Business as usual. I've tried. God knows I've tried, but does every creature not have the right to grieve? A widow bird sat mourning for her mate on a wintry bough. Does a politician count for less than the birds of the air or the beasts of the field? leaving nothing but a black hole. Pen? You're not Pen. She's gone. There's a gaping black hole where she used to be. She is dead and gone, lady. She is dead and gone. She made a good end of here, you know, but she wasn't in her right mind at the time.
Miss Gibbon.
It's okay. Don't worry about me. I'm in control. Yes. One tear would breach the dam. See? After that, the deluge. One drop. Too many.
Miss Gibbon.
Goodbye, sweet Pen. Was alive and now is dead. Goodbye, sweet lady. Goodbye. Goodbye.
Is there a doctor in the house?
No need for that, Councillor. I'm in control. You hear that, Pen? Wherever you are. No tears. Permission to cry, sir. Permission denied. I'm in control.
Please, help somebody, anyone. For goodness sake. So embarrassing. Why can't people show decent restraint?